first ever mass-made premium sedan, powered purely by electricity. Designed to have speed and range, and not a drop of gas.
Our goal is to create an electric car that is the best car in the world and show that that's what an electric car can be.
Tesla's goal is to kill off the combustion engine and prove the electric car has finally come of age.
Driving a gasoline car is going to feel like yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to the stream there, but it's back. I think I'm going to put on Mad Money from yesterday. I didn't get to see that.
This is Elon Musk,
So I can quickly get that
Tesla's
done.
co-founder and CEO. Elon
This might be interesting to see if Kramer has anything to say about Tesla.
These days, it's any. My mission is simple: to make you money. I'm here to level the playing field for all investors. There's always a bull market somewhere, and I promise to help you find it. Mad Money starts now.
Kramerica.
Hey, I'm Kramer. Welcome to Mad Money. Welcome to Kramerica. Other people want to make friends? I'm just trying to help you not lose too much money. My job is not just to entertain, but to educate you. So call me, 1-800-743-CBC, or tweet me at your Kramer. Sell in May because the market's too high? Come on, I mean, that may not rhyme, but it's a lot more compelling than sell in May and go away. A little ditty I've hated since the first time I heard many years ago, and then sat out a terrific summer rally. Because of a rhyme. Sell in May and go away is suboptimal advice, people. But this May, it just so happens, the market's run too much versus the fundamentals, which is one reason we got secured today. Dow plunging 622 points. The S&P losing 2.8%.
That was predictable as the summer rain in Florida, Jim.
Off the rails. Now, after a
tumultuous off an all-time high
that ended in a bombshell of a decline after President Trump talked about the possibility of retaliating against China for not doing enough to stop the coronavirus, I don't love the timing here. But if there's one thing we've learned, it's that you need to take the president seriously when he threatens to take action against China, because he's done it whenever he says it. And that's bad news for the stock market. Let me put it this way. 2018 and 2019, we went after the People's Republic of both barrels. We were in a position of strength, strong GDP growth, incredible job market. Now we're in a position of weakness. 30 million people have lost their jobs, recession unavoidable. Really not the time for a trade war, something Larry Kudlow. Now we're in a position of weakness. 30 million people have lost their jobs, recession unavoidable. Really not the time for a trade war, something Larry Kudlow, the president's chief economic advisor, seemed to agree with me. Seemed to agree with me when I interviewed him on Squawk on the Street this morning. The market sure did. That fear, combined with the already overbought state of the market and the obvious distress in the economy, has me wondering if there might be more downside next week. No, I'm not predicting a retest of the March lows. That would be too harsh. We're not going to crash again. But I think this market could use a couple more down days like today to cool itself off. I wish that they wouldn't be so vicious. With that in mind, what is next week's game plan? All right, well, first, Tyson Foods kicks things off on Monday. Not long ago, everything was coming up roses for these guys.
Yeah,
we had a China deal thanks to African swine fever. China was desperate for Tyson's meat. What could go wrong? Well, it turns out a lot. The pandemic has slowed sales all over the globe. Meanwhile, the company's got a bunch of COVID outbreaks at its factories. These would be front-page stories if OSHA was actually doing its job. We own Tyson for the Charitable Trust, and I am furious myself for not giving it the boot at higher levels. I just didn't do a good job, frankly. I don't want you in it. I don't want you in my house of pain. After the close, Skyward Solutions reports that This chipmaker is one of the few pure plays in the coming of 5G wireless, which is inevitable. Every time the stock gets slammed like it was today, I think it's a buying opportunity. I didn't hear anything out of the Apple call last night to suggest there was a slowdown in handsets. That's good news for Skyworks, too. Next up, when Dr. Anthony Fauci talked about the good news about Gilead's remdesivir as a treatment for COVID-19, he talked about it as the first tool in an otherwise empty toolbox. He said it could be part of a cocktail of drugs that could potentially turn the tide. What else might be in that cocktail? Well, Regeneron's working on a monoclonal antibody drug. We're going to learn more about that when Regeneron reports on Tuesday. After the close, we have the two very challenged companies, two of the most challenged companies in the market, Disney and Occidental. I think Disney's meeting the challenge. Occidental, not so much. Think about it. Disney's got cruise ships. It's got theme parks. It's got movies. All pretty much closed.
You got laid off employees. Pay me.
Ain't no live sports. But it also has Disney Plus, which is a fabulous service when you're stuck at home.
Bro, $5 or $6 a month? Come on.
I think the parks may be able to open sometime this year.
I agree.
Remember, crowds are not really acceptable.
June 1st, Magic Kingdom. Mark my words.
And still, you got a pretty hideous stock. But that said, Disney is an iconic brand. So I'd say if you own it, I'd hold it. If you want to buy it, I'd wait until after the quarter. As for Occidental, I think you got it. Hey,
all right, I wouldn't buy Disney going into earnings. It'd be crazy. Hopefully you can get it at 95.
Good about it, you sell it on Monday. I mean, that meeting should be pretty somber. We'd have to listen to Becky Quick to say she's going out there. Monday may be your best chance to get out of what I think was at once great oil company that paid way too much.
Oxy?
Called Anadarko, which my travel trust owned. Unlike Tyson, was good. And, didn't live happily ever after. Wednesday starts with CVS. Now, I think this company
isn't Buffett in Oxy?
Thanks to the acquisition of Aetna. It's also a higher yielding stock that's down 20% for the year. Might be worth buying ahead of the quarter if you can get it in the mid-50s because it's sold off here. Trust owns it. It's been okay.
CVS, goodbye.
All right, now with this, remember, Jim?
I mean, a good buy, not goodbye. A good buy.
I know some people are just itching to buy a car company. Why? Because public transit's gotten a lot more risky. Don't do it.
No.
This is not the time.
Don't buy GM.
Here's one that I like. It's come down a lot.
Definitely buy Waste Management.
18 points from its high. Garbage company does need more construction to make its numbers. They're aware.
Be all right.
Let's see what they say. And now that Elon Musk has slapped a sell
Again, I wouldn't buy any of
Tesla
these things ahead of earnings.
Someone please delete his account. The hottest stock in this market is Shopify, which helps small businesses set up online. Given what we know about layoffs, quarantines, and shopping, I'm betting Shopify is an incredible quarter. The stock has run up dramatically. I think it's worth the risk.
Are you nuts?
We all want to know how Moderna...
What is it, Amazon all over again? Don't do that.
Hopefully, they can give us a read-through when they report on Thursday. So far, they've been pretty tight-lipped about phase one. Come on. I saw them on this morning, but I'd like to know more. We also hear from Bristol Myers, which is one of my favorites.
Love BMY.
Especially now that it's combined with Celgene. I buy some both before and
they have warrants, too. They're hard to find. But
on Friday, we get results from Ventas.
But BMY has warrants.
Trust company has been struggling because nursing homes represent a huge chunk of its business, and it's tough to run a nursing home during a pandemic. It's particularly vicious to the elderly. Ventas yields 10%. Oh, normally I'd like that, but wait a second. Now it's starting to feel like a red flag to me. Let's see what CEO Deb Cafaro has to say about whether the payout's sustainable. The bottom line, last night I told you the market had come up too far too fast. Even after today's decline, we're still overbought. I really do believe it's worth waiting for the market to go lower to do any buying, unless we got some incredible vaccine news over the weekend, and I don't think we're going to get that. The market got ahead of itself. That was an amazing April. Remember, it was the best since 1987. So now we're having a curb your enthusiasm moment. So please be careful out there. Let's go to Narendra in Connecticut. Narendra.
Yeah, the algos really
all right, how about you?
Freaked out when the SPY got to 292, 293.
Opportunity here. I was wondering about your view on community banks and specifically NYCB, New York Community Bank.
No.
They announced earnings.
Stay away from banks.
Had a very strong quarter.
Get back to them after earnings.
Right. 6%
Look, Buffett just had the $50 million loss announced today.
Real estate market. I was wondering whether you think they could sustain their performance.
No, I think if I own that stock, I would sell that stock. I mean, I don't care about yield when it comes to financials. I care about safety right now. And I just don't trust the financials. Even the best are going down and have just been obliterated. Larry in Florida. Larry, you're up.
Coming to you with a sunny booyah.
All right, Larry, what's up?
Booyah
I
from
called today
Florida.
to ask about a household name, an institution, one that's performing well during these turbulent times. So post-earnings, it exceeded analysts' expectations. And after considering their moves to protect margins against headwinds and with apparently ample liquidity, what are your thoughts on Whirlpool for the upcoming year?
Well, it's down almost 25% for the year. Yields 4. But I'm not crazy about it. In a recession, you don't buy
Whirlpool.
expensive appliances.
No.
And they've got the ones where they make the most money on are the expensive ones. So I'm going to have to say no to that one. They did acquit themselves well, and it's a good interview yesterday on CBC. Right? Even if today's decline, this market is too high. So I want you to be exercise caution. Maybe tonight, Clorox posted its biggest rise in quarterly sales in a
Kramer
decade.
loves Clorox.
Just how popular its cleaning products are during the coronavirus pandemic. You know that, so do I. I'm getting the latest from the CEO. Then cosmetics companies are dealing with the fallout from the closure of department stores, airport duty-free shops, and beauty parlors because of COVID-19 lockdowns. What's Estee Lauder signaling? Wow, that's an exclusive. They don't do TV. And Seattle Genetics just jumped 8% after earnings and some stunning sales. This may be the real biotech that they are doing so well.
Look at earnings.
Franchise. We're going to sit down with the CEO, break down the report. So stay with
Kramer.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Kramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com. They're our neighbors and our friends, but now they are forever our heroes too. And while they're working to keep us safe, Prudential is proud to provide over 1 million healthcare workers with benefits that help bring peace of mind in times like these.
Let's do this. I was training for the Olympics, and unfortunately I got injured and didn't make the team. I ate and drank everything inside.
I did anything and everything that I thought would get me like that skinny, and it never worked.
And then I tried new.
Noom taught me how to change my habits a little by little.
They say it's based on a cognitive behavioral approach. I just say it works.
Visit Noom.com and lose the weight for good.
People 65 and older and those with underlying medical conditions are at higher risk from coronavirus.
We all have a responsibility to slow the spread.
Practice social distancing. Avoid
Touch frequently.
regularly disinfect surfaces and objects.
Let's keep everyone, especially those at high risk, safe.
The Prophet. Marcus Lemonis.
We're all living a new normal. If you are currently facing financial burdens, call your State Farm agent because we're here to help make this new normal feel just a little more normal. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Last night I told you we need to get a bit more defensive because many of the themes that propelled us higher last month, you remember that was a huge month, are played out. So what works if May ends up looking more like March than like April? How about Clorox? Probably the most trusted consumer package name in the business. It's a kingpin, a classic recession-proof stock. Also has a fabulous play on the pandemic. If you want to stay healthy, you need to clean and disinfect. You need Clorox. So it's no wonder when the company reported this morning delivered a spectacular. Even with everyone expecting strong numbers, Clorox did even better, delivering an amazing 22-cent earnings beat off of $1.67 basis, substantially higher than expected sales, up 15% year over year. Festival management dramatically raised its full-year forecast. Rather than a small earnings decline, they're looking at a 6 to 9% increase, and that is very big. Stock rallied 3.36% today on a horrendous day, and I think it's owned by my Travel Trust. It's got a lot more room to run. Do not take it from me. Let's check in with Ben O'Dour, the chairman and CEO of Clorox, find out more about his quarter, where the company's headed. Benno, welcome back to Mad Money.
Thanks for having me back, Jim.
All right, so Ben, I want to start out by saluting you and thanking you. I know that you could have charged much more. I know that you could have directed this to consumers. I know that you actually did not make nearly as much as you could have, because as anyone who knows who goes onto Amazon, your products are prioritized for organizations on the front lines responding to COVID-19. That's up there. Everybody knows who goes to Amazon, because I know our viewers went. So thank you. Thank you for doing something that the capitalists haven't done for many years in this country.
Well, thank you for recognizing the 8,800 people of Clorox, Jim. And I would, if I may, love to start just by saying that our hearts go out to everybody who's been impacted by COVID-19. And our thanks go out to everybody on the front lines for their heroic work. And might I include our own production associates who, through their passion, dedication, and leadership, made what is a great quarter possible. And what I'm mostly proud of is that it's a great quarter, but delivered the right way. Our core value is doing the right thing, and this is where our core value really comes through. And we've been very clear right from the beginning that our priorities are, number one, to keep our employees safe and well. Number two, to make as many products as possible to meet consumers' demand. And number three, to give back to communities in need. And we have given back about $14 million now with focus on caregivers because that's where our money right now is needed the most.
All right, so I've got in my hands, I guess, about the most important product in our country right now. I have the Clorox disinfecting wipes, which I carry in a bag everywhere I go. I'm never without them. I think it's foolish to be without them because they kill 99.9% of bacteria. But I have to ask you, because I'm trying to figure out how your business works. You know that we may be in this pandemic for 2 years. If you were to have unlimited capital, could you put up unlimited number of plants and make it so we all have this? Or are there gating factors that make it so you can't ever meet worldwide demand, no matter what, for what I'm carrying?
I think we're in uncharted territory, all of us who are now in spaces that see this unprecedented demand. We saw demand surge in some of our disinfecting categories by 500%. And no supply chain in the packaged goods industry is currently set up that way. But I'm very, very proud of our production associates. As I mentioned, we have churned out 40 million disinfecting products more this last quarter than in the previous year quarter for an output increase of 40%. And we've done that by simplifying our supply chain with great partnership with the many retailers that we serve. We have done this by accessing third-party supply, and we still fell short, but we're making an enormous amount of progress to continue to bring capacity online. We're investing in future capacity so that we're better equipped to meet the demand in future surges, hopefully, and we expect to be in a much better shape with substantial improvements this summer.
Clorox is not necessarily known for an international footprint, but its brand is trusted worldwide. Could you, given the fact that this is a worldwide pandemic, could you put a plant in every continent?
It's certainly a priority for us to look at the disinfecting space going forward. I think, and many people think, and data supports that we're going to see disinfecting products on consumers' minds in more pronounced ways than in the past for a very long time. So that gives us an opportunity to serve more consumers. In our international business, which accounts for about 15% of company sales, more than 50% of our revenue comes from disinfecting products, which is why we saw a 22% currency neutral sales increase on the international business with a lot of great work by our associates to meet consumers around the world. And we think there is a clear opportunity for us to think about how we can serve more consumers by adding capacity and investing in that. And we have plenty of room to invest in that as a way to help shoppers around the world keep themselves and their families safe.
So what do you do when the person who big account for me
momentum behind our core business